What's going on, college football fans, and of course, all of the Miami Hurricanes fans, and welcome to today's preview video, the Miami Hurricanes versus the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. These two teams are facing off this Saturday, October 19th at 12 o'clock Eastern Time on ACC Network at Hard Rock Stadium. Now hold up, you already know what's coming before we dive into this preview video. If you haven't clicked that little subscribe button down below, make sure you go ahead and do that, but only if you love college football, especially the Miami Hurricanes. Doesn't cost you a thing, it's 100% free. We recently hit 10,000 subscribers and we're pushing for 15,000 subscribers. Maybe by the end of the year. I think it's possible with this college football family here on YouTube. Also, I do have a join button if you want to check that out. It's to the left or the right of the subscribe button. Apple users, you've got a special little link down in the description. And that does cost money though. I want to be fully transparent with you, but it directly supports the channel. You get some cool little perks like a U beside your name, some special emotes, and some stuff like that. And yes, you did hear me right. This game will be on ACC Network. Now, a lot of you still don't have that channel. Listen, a lot of people here call me the link man. I've got you. Don't even worry about it. All you got to do is show up Saturday afternoon on this channel during my live hangout for the game, and I will have links for you to watch the game. So don't even worry. Coop's got you. Where do I even start with these two teams? I mean, you've got Miami, who's tied for second to last in the Coastal. The only team with the worst conference record is Georgia Tech. Now, Miami is coming off of a big win last week against number 20 ranked Virginia. Georgia Tech, on the other hand, is coming off of a loss to Duke. Now, don't get me wrong, and keep in mind this is coming from a Miami fan. The Canes right now are struggling. That win against Virginia is a huge confidence booster, but it in no way means that Miami is back and that all of a sudden we're dominating every team that we play now. However, I do think that most of us can agree that Georgia Tech is a worse football team, and I'm just being blunt and putting it out there. I mean, again, Miami doesn't have room to trash talk, and Miami can't afford to underestimate any team that they play. But Georgia Tech is struggling, man. Now, here's the scary thing with that for Miami. Us Canes fans know that Miami tends to play down to the level of their competition. We've proven it time and time again. Already, even just this season. You best believe that Georgia Tech will come out and play Miami hard. They've got nothing to lose, and we're going to get their best shot. Now, one last keynote I want to make about this game, and many of you are already aware of this if you watch any college football at all, but Georgia Tech no longer runs that crazy triple option offense. They have a new head coach there, and they've implemented some type of spread offense that they're still really trying to grasp, and I feel like they are still struggling with it overall. But, man, you know what? I'm going to kind of miss that triple option. So let's talk about a brief bit of history between these two teams. Miami and Georgia Tech have faced off 24 times in total, with the series tied up at 12 games apiece. Georgia Tech did win the game just last season, 27-21. So let's talk numbers. Let's look at stats for both of these two teams. Now keep in mind that these numbers are averages, so I don't do any of that 0.2 or 0.7 stuff. I'll round it up or down respectively. And there's going to be a little graphic image here on the screen. Your boy Coop is not the best at Photoshop, but listen, I'm trying hard to make these better every week. So hopefully they're starting to look improved. So let's go ahead and dive in. Georgia Tech average points per game, 17, Miami 30. Points allowed against them per game, Georgia Tech averaging 32, Miami 19. Yards per game average for Georgia Tech, 310, Miami 418. And lastly, yards allowed against them per game, Georgia Tech 421, Miami 290. The yards allowed against them per game really stands out for me in this one. 421 yards average allowed against them per game, with Miami coming in at 290. That's a huge difference there. I feel like this preview's moving relatively quick. We're going to go ahead and jump in over to keys to a Georgia Tech victory in this game. So Number one, the defense as a whole for Georgia Tech just needs to play better, especially in the first half of this game. Now, like we just discussed in the stats, Georgia Tech is allowing around 32 points per game. Take a look last week at the Duke game. They gave up 38 points in the first half of that game. Now, after halftime adjustments were made, they gave up just 3 points to Duke in the second half. So, especially in the first half, this Georgia Tech defense needs to show up. Obviously, some potential is there. Number two, Georgia Tech's offense needs to put up points in the first quarter. I'm not talking just the first half. I'm talking the first quarter. I'm going to throw a stat out there that you just might not believe. Last week against Duke was the first time that Georgia Tech had put points on the board in a first quarter this season. No joke. A touchdown or two in the first quarter against this Miami defense would be a huge confidence booster for the Yellow Jackets. And lastly, redshirt freshman quarterback James Graham will need to be more accurate in this game. As of right now, at the time of filming this video, his completion percentage is around 45%. And I gotta tell you, hearing that stat, the Miami DBs are foaming at the mouth. So let's transition over to keys to a Miami victory in this game. Number one, I'm pretty sure that all Miami fans would say that our defense looked greatly improved against Virginia. Manny Diaz made an announcement early last week that for the rest of the season, he's going to start being more involved and more hands-on with the defense. Manny Diaz, basically what I'm going to say is whatever you changed, whatever you're doing on defense, keep it up. Number two, and I understand this has been on the list for several weeks, but I'm going to keep saying it until it happens. The Canes need to establish a run game. The last time that Miami had over 100 rushing yards in a game was way back against Bethune-Cookman. And listen, if I'm being real with you, I really don't even count that game. Nobody is going to respect the Dan Enos play action unless we can actually set up a run game. And lastly, I was going to say that the O-line needs to improve this week. But listen, I feel like that's been on the list every single week. And let's be real, it's going to continue to be on the list for the remainder of the season. So you know what? Let's change it up a little bit. How about for this game, for the last key to a Miami victory, we get the ball in our tight end's hands more often. I'm talking 5 to 10 touches for Brevin Jordan in this game. I do not think that's unrealistic. That man is a beast, and when he touches the ball, something amazing happens. So moving on to a score prediction for this game. Every single preview video, I like to mention the completely pointless ESPN matchup predictor. They have Miami's win percentage chance coming into this game at 93.4% and Georgia Tech at 6.6%. And just to be honest, again, both of these teams are struggling, but when you look at the two of them, I mean, Georgia Tech is really struggling. So I completely understand why they would have Georgia Tech as a big underdog in this matchup. So how does Coop feel about this matchup? I'm man enough to admit that I was wrong last week. I had picked Miami to lose, and thank you. They proved me wrong. I had never been so happy to be wrong on a score prediction. But how do I feel this week? Miami versus a struggling Georgia Tech. And might I add again, a struggling Miami versus a struggling Georgia Tech. What do I think the final outcome for this game would be? Well, I got to tell you, I've got Miami putting up 31 points. And I have Georgia Tech scoring 7. So, yes, I am predicting a Miami victory in this game. Hear me out. I don't know at the time of filming this video who the starting quarterback for Miami is going to be. At the beginning of this week, Manny Diaz made it known that if healthy, Jaron Williams will start in this game. N'Kosi Perry came in late into Virginia Tech, balled out against Virginia and got us the dub against them. My score prediction would change slightly for Miami, point-wise, depending on which quarterback is starting. But at the time of filming this, I don't know who it is. So it's really a toss-up. Is Jaron Williams healthy? I really don't know. I don't know who's going to start. So I'm comfortable, though, with 31-7. Again, it might fluctuate a little bit. Also, keep in mind that Georgia Tech has nothing to lose coming into this game. They're last in the Coastal. They've won one football game against USF. That's it. So they are going to come in swinging. Listen, I'm telling you. And they'll throw everything at Miami, okay? And you got to remember, Miami fans and Georgia Tech fans, that Miami tends, like I said, to play down to the level of their competition. So just because Georgia Tech is struggling, just because they've only won one football game, does not mean that this game will not be close. It doesn't mean that they can't come in and make this game competitive. I think a lot of it is them still struggling with trying to grasp this spread offense. They've got a lot of fresh faces in there on the team and the coaching staff. So at the end of the day, though, I think that Miami is just a better football team. The defense looked much more improved against Virginia. And again, I don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but hopefully the offense can put up some points. I'm being kind of generous. Honestly, I'm being a little generous here, giving Miami 31 points. When you look at their average points per game and what we've been doing production-wise on offense, 31 I feel like is very generous. And listen, please, Miami, have y'all ever tasted paper? It don't taste good. So please, Miami, don't make me eat another score prediction. That's been a couple of weeks in a row, and I don't want to do it. Okay, I don't want to eat another one. So remember, guys, I will have links for the game. So all you got to do is be there. Be there for the live hangout during the game, and I will have the links. We also do the night before stream where I take phone calls. We discuss the game. That will happen on Friday night at 8 or 9 p.m. I haven't decided on a time slot for that one yet. And also, again, if you haven't clicked the subscribe button, do it, but only do it if you love college football, especially Miami Hurricanes football. So thank you for all the love you guys have been showing me on this channel. We have just been blowing up, and that's because of you guys, my college football family, my Canes fam. You guys have been showing Coop so much love, and it means the world to me. Remember, though, guys, we are all one big happy college football family, but at the end of the day, I got to say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. Coach Coop, peace out.